Hello again, YouTube. This is Veteran Mountain Man here, and today's topic is going to be rhetoric once again. And we're discussing rhetoric because we've also been discussing the idea of 1776 constitutionalism, or 1776 conservatism, as it is now commonly called. And rhetoric plays heavily into that, and that's because our republic system was built on the idea of free exchange and debate of ideas. And so, because we're based on the free exchange of ideas, rhetoric and debate have to be a foundational principle of your government. If you can't debate back and forth, then there is no government, and we're all just a bunch of idiots checking boxes, is what it really comes down to. And the cultural Marxists would love to get us to that point where all we're doing is voting for exactly what they tell us to vote for and let them do exactly what they want to do, which is collectivize us into smaller and smaller groups, stripping us of all of our freedoms in the disguise of giving us liberty. And it's not people aren't falling for it anymore. So anyhow, today we are going to discuss the art of the rebuttal. Yay! So, in a debate, you have several actions. You have usually an initiation of a topic, and then you have some discourse that goes back and forth, including some questions. Now, when you start your discourse, you need to be sticking to your main topics and ideas, as we discussed in Rhetoric Tactics, which was my previous podcast on this subject. And you need to be using your sources as supporting statements based off your thesis that you contrive from your supporting sources. But rebuttals get a little sticky. You never know exactly what your opponent is going to come back with. And this is why an echo chamber does not work. If you cannot listen to and understand the opposing viewpoint of your position, then you cannot effectively debate an opponent. So you must be willing to sit down and listen to others of that same position give you that position and give you their logic and their ideas and their reasonings before you go into the debate, and understand their position inside and out. And that will give you the insight to sculpt your refutations. Now, refutations in and of themselves are general ideas. So you can't know exactly what they're going to ask you, but you can have some pretty good understandings of what the talking points are, what their bullet points are, and you can then sculpt refutations that fit them in categories. And we're going to do this with an example. So for those of y'all that watched the Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders debate on healthcare, Bernie Sanders talked about taxation of the 1% and taxation of those that make so much to fund the government down below. And so how did Ted Cruz refute that? Well, Ted Cruz actually pulled out the numbers. And that is what you have to do. You know that socialists are going to discuss taxation of the rich. They always justify their position in the fact that the rich are making so much more and we can tax them to pay for these social programs. That you can prepare for that. You can actually look up the information at the Department of Taxation and Excises, at the U.S. Economics Budget Council, and pull the taxation records based off census data and show what it actually is. This stuff is public record, people. It's public taxation record. So you can actually go and look at it. There's a whole list of .gov websites out there that will give you plenty of ammunition to refute this kind of stuff. Another one was, and I just got it today at minds.com, show me where the Constitution states that states have to respect the rights of the First Amendment. Well, you go directly to the 10th Amendment, which was approved at the very same time, and it states that all dictations amongst the Constitution are the sole prescription of Congress except wherein it is dictated to be of the state or of the people. And anything not prescribed to Congress is directly related to the state and the people. And then the First Amendment gives you the right to free speech as dictated to and from the U.S. Congress. So the U.S. Congress is responsible for all dictates based on speech. Period. End of story. That's the way our system works. Yet some of those who would want you to believe that the Constitution is this living, breathing, fluid document would state that we need to make changes to the Constitution to protect free speech. We don't. It is already protected and enshrined in its entirety there. Because it is a negative right, it means that Congress cannot legislate it. And it states that because Congress cannot, and because it is the purview of Congress and they cannot, that the states cannot. And so we come down to the modern issue. Is it all right to shut down free speech? No, it is not. So, anyhow, if you're going to debate and you're going to work with rhetoric and logic, we need to make sure that we can actually review, read, and understand our opponent. Because if you cannot at least empathize with your opponent and see their perspective, then you cannot effectively refute what they are saying. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me here today. I'm going to leave a link at minds.com/veteran mountain man below. If you want to talk to me about this or any other topic, feel free to contact me there. Thank you all again, and remember, like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and I'll keep doing it. Y'all have a nice day.